Back when I started, I had zero experience in design and tech industry. I didn't even have my first computer until I was 20. And the crazy part is having a computer was something I used to dream about because I grew up in a family where that felt kind of impossible. But today I work full-time in tech as a product designer, building real products and solving real user problems. So if you think product design is out of reach for you, I'm here to tell you it is not. In this video, I will show you exactly how I got into product design step by step and how you can start to. Alright, let's jump in. Step 1, fix your mindset. The first lie I had to stop believing was that you need the perfect background to work in tech industry. Well, you don't. You don't need to be a software engineer or come from art school. Tech companies need more than people who can write code or design screens. They need people who understand users, communicate clearly, take ownership, and actively participate in solving problems. So if you are starting from zero, your job is to build proof that you can learn, think, and solve real problems. Your background is where you start. Step 2, train your eye and learn the basics. In the beginning, I used to look at a lot of UI inspiration. Dribble, good websites, good applications, and Muzli, which is a Chrome extension that shows you design news, inspiration, and weekly UI interaction examples. But one of the most useful resources for me was Growth.Design. Just to be clear, this video is not sponsored. None of the tools, website, or resources I mention here paid me to talk about them. I'm sharing them because they were useful for me when I was learning design, and I think they can help you train your eye much faster. Let me quickly show you what I mean. Okay, this is Growth.Design. As you can see, instead of just showing you beautiful UI screens, they break down real product experiences and explain why certain UX decisions work or don't work. If I go to the onboarding category, you can see different case studies about how products guide new users. Let's open this Grammarly onboarding example. What I like about this, it doesn't just say Grammarly has a good onboarding. It walks you through the experience step by step and explains the thinking behind it. Then on the left side, we have psych level. Psych level means users' motivation and excitement. And this is exactly how you should study design. That's how you slowly build your UX knowledge. Another resource that helped me a lot was Steve Schoger's Refactoring UI content. He would take weak or ugly designs and show how to make them better. That was extremely useful because it wasn't just theory. You could actually see how small changes in spacing, typography, contrast, alignment, and hierarchy could completely change a quality of a design. I will put all the links in the description below, so make sure you check them out after the video. I also used to read a lot of articles on Medium, Smash-In Magazine, and design blogs to build my foundation in UI and UX. But here is the important part. When you see a good design, slow down for a second and actually study it. Try to understand why it feels clean and why your eye goes to the right place. That's when inspiration becomes useful. By the way, I've also created a full playlist on the foundation of user experience design. So if you are starting from zero and you want a more structured way to learn the basics of UX, I will link that playlist for you as well. Step 3, copy to learn. I know this sounds weird, but at the beginning, you kind of have to fake it until you make it. I used to take screenshots of interfaces I liked and try to rebuild them as closely as possible. Not because I wanted to copy someone's work and pretend it was mine. The point was to understand how good design is built. This is important because at the beginning, you don't need to invent everything from scratch. You need to understand how good interfaces are structured. So pick a product you like, rebuild one screen, then ask yourself what makes it work. And after that, change it. Make your own version. That's how you move from copying to understanding, and from understanding to designing with intention. You might say, but we have AI now. It can generate screens, layouts, and UI ideas in a second. Why do I still need to learn this? Yes, AI can help you move faster, but your judgment is still the most important part. Because judgment is what separates someone who can use design tools from someone who can actually design. Step 4, build fake projects before real ones arrive. This is where a lot of beginners get stuck. They say, I don't have experience, so I can't build my portfolio. But then companies say, we need to see your portfolio before we give you experience. So what I did was simple. I started giving myself weekly design projects. One week I would design a to-do app, the next week a calendar app, then maybe a dashboard, a mobile app, or a small product concept. The point was to practice, finish something, and slowly build proof that I could design. And after a few weeks, when you look back at your older work, you start seeing the progress. You also start facing new challenges, and slowly you stop just making pretty screens and start becoming a problem solver. After each project, I would post my work publicly on design platforms and social media like Dribbble, LinkedIn, and slowly use that to build my first portfolio. But don't just post final screens and disappear. Try to explain your thinking and your process. What was the problem? What did you change? Why did you make that decision? Trust me, over time you will see the progress in your work. Your first portfolio doesn't need to prove that you are a senior designer. It just needs to prove that you can think, learn, and improve. And honestly, many designers got their first opportunities this way, by building a strong portfolio full of personal concepts and imaginary projects. Step 5, get your first small real project. For me, my first paid design projects came through a friend who referred me. It was a very small project, but it was a full app design. I remember it was around $300 and it took me more than 3 months. So financially, was it a great deal? No, not even close. But I was extremely excited because for the first time someone actually trusted me. Because now it wasn't just my own imaginary project, it was a real project. I had to deal with real expectations, real feedback, and developers who actually had to build what I designed. That is the real value of your first project. So don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Start small. But now you might be thinking, okay, but what if no one reaches out to me? What if nobody gives me a project? There are millions of better designers out there with real case studies and better portfolios. And that's exactly why the next step matters. Step 6, build your network. A lot of your first opportunities won't come from applying to random job posts in LinkedIn. They will come from people who know you, people who somehow connected to you and trust you, people in communities, developers, other designers. So don't just sit alone, build a portfolio and wait. Reach out to other designers on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, or wherever your industry is active. Join design communities, talk to developers, share your work, ask for feedback, and start small conversations. Because networking is not begging for opportunities, it's building relationships before you need something. And over time, those relationships can turn into referrals, freelance projects, interviews, or even full-time roles. In this industry, being good matters, but being visible and connected matters too. Okay, from here, the most important thing is to never stop looking for better opportunities. Don't get comfortable just because you got your first project or your first job. And put yourself in situations where the problems are a little bigger than what you already know. The way we design today is already different from a few years ago. And now AI is changing the workflow even faster. That's it, you made it. That's the whole roadmap. Fix your mindset, train your eye, copy to learn, build and post your own work, and build your network. And if you're starting from zero right now, don't let that scare you. Nobody starts with the perfect background and portfolio. You just need to start with one step, then keep proving to yourself that you can learn, improve, and solve better problems. If I could start without even having a computer, you can do it too. See you in the next one. Bye.